The weather has been getting extremely warm for us recently, so today I will be sharing 5 new dinners with you that require very little to no heat at all. So these dinners are going to be perfect on those super hot days when you don't have a lot of energy to make dinner. Let's go get to my kitchen and let's go get started. To kick us off today, we are making these black bean burritos. So into this medium-sized bowl, I'm adding in 2 14-ounce cans of black beans. These black beans are drained and rinsed. I'm just mashing them up a little bit with the back of my fork. Now I'll go ahead and add in a tablespoon of taco seasoning, then add in 1 drained can of Rotel. Next, add in a half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese and give this a stir. Now that it's well combined and looks like this, I'm going to set it to the side. I am going to make the avocado salsa now. So into this bowl, I added 1 red onion that is diced along with an avocado that I diced, 1/4 cup of salsa. You could use any type of salsa. Then the juice from 1 lime. This juicer is so easy to squeeze. I'll have it linked below for you. Then add in a tablespoon of minced garlic along with a teaspoon of salt and give this a stir. This salsa is so good on any burrito. You can make like chicken burritos, really any burrito. This is just like delicious to add to the burrito. But I have my medium-sized tortillas right here. I am just going to add some of that black bean mixture. Just add it right onto the tortilla. Next, add some of that avocado salsa. Just roll up your burrito and then you could serve this up. We have had over 95-degree weather here in Utah recently, and these black bean burritos are like the perfect dinner to make when you don't know what to make for dinner and you don't want to heat up your house a ton and you don't want to put a lot of effort into dinner either. Now we're making this avocado corn salad. So to get it started, we're going to begin by cutting up our vegetables. I just cut up an English cucumber, next a half of a red onion, 1 cup of cherry tomatoes, and about 1 avocado. Over to this big bowl, I'm adding all of those vegetables in there. Next, I'm going to be adding in a drained 14-ounce can of corn, or you could add in 2 ears of fresh corn if you would prefer to do that. I just had a can of corn on hand that I wanted to use. But this recipe is on page 34 in my cookbook and it is in the sides and appetizers section. But to make this less of a side and more of like a main dish today, I am actually going to be adding in 2 cups of cooked shredded chicken. So I don't have that chicken in the recipe, but to make it more of a main dish, I just wanted to add that chicken in. So I did. Next, I'm adding in a teaspoon of salt. Then after you add in your salt, go ahead and add in a half a teaspoon of pepper and a half a teaspoon of dried basil. Go ahead and give this a really good stir. And then I kind of realized I forgot to add in the lemon juice, so I added in the juice from 1 lemon. This really gives it some great freshness. And then after you give it a stir, you could serve this immediately or you could refrigerate this for later. But like I said before, I added chicken into this. You could add in different veggies if you'd like. You could subtract different veggies. This recipe really is versatile, and I do want to let you know for a lot of the recipes in my cookbook, you could seriously make them your own. Like I said before, you could add ingredients, subtract ingredients, but we absolutely love this avocado corn salad in my house. It is so good. Now we are making these Italian Cobb salad subs, and if you have never had a sub like this before, you need to try this. I'm starting out by cooking up 6 strips of bacon to this pan on my stove. I added a little water in and that will help the bacon cook evenly. Now I'm going to boil up 3 eggs in my Instant Pot, or you could boil up your eggs however you choose to do so. I like to cook them on high pressure for 5 minutes and then do a 5-minute natural release, and then keep them in cold water for about 5 minutes, and then that will help the shell come off so easily. I have a loaf of French bread right here. I'm just removing some of the excess bread inside, and that will just add more emphasis on what is inside of the bread and not just the big loaf of bread. I really like to do this when I use these big loaves of bread for like subs, and then you can make the bread that you remove into like croutons just by baking it in the oven for a different recipe or a salad. But now I'm brushing on 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar. Just brush it on both both sides. And if you're not a balsamic vinegar fan, you don't have to add it. Next, I'm going to be brushing on 1/4 cup of Italian dressing. Any Italian dressing will really work well. Next, I'm going to be adding on some iceberg lettuce. I'm just adding it onto one side of the sub. Then I'm going to add on sliced tomatoes. I am seasoning the tomatoes with just a little dash of salt and pepper. That really makes tomatoes taste a lot better, especially if they're not like fresh homegrown tomatoes. I'm adding about 7 slices of Swiss cheese on the other side of the sub. And for the meat that I am using today, I'm just using some smoked turkey. I just placed that over the cheese. I'm also going to be using honey ham, but you could use like salami, you could use pepperoni, you could use pastrami. Really anything would work in these subs. But now that the bacon is to the crispiness that I like it to be, I'm just removing it to a plate lined with paper towels, and I'll place that bacon over the top of the ham. After you add the bacon on, it is now time to add the boiled eggs, and I have this egg cutter and I really like it. I'll have it linked below for you guys if you don't have one, but I'm just placing the egg slices over the tomato, and I am seasoning the egg with a little dash of salt and pepper. That will make the egg super good. Just place the sandwich together like this and then slice the sandwich into individual subs, and then you could serve this easy dinner up. Let me tell you, this is not your average boring bland sub that you will just get tired of after a couple bites. This has so much crispiness from the bacon. There is so much flavor and like the most perfect textures in this sub. Now we're making these Southwest chicken wraps, and they are next level. I have a sheet pan right here lined with parchment paper, and I have my crispy chicken tenders. I'm just laying about 7 crispy chicken tenders on my sheet pan, and I'll bake them according to the package instructions. I did like the Tyson brand. I thought these were pretty good. Now that they are out of the oven and cooled down, I am just cutting them into smaller pieces like this. Now I am going to set them to the side. We're working on the Southwest dressing now. So into this bowl, I added in about 1.5 cups of mayonnaise. Next, go ahead and add in 1/2 cup of salsa, followed by 1/2 cup of milk, and then 3 tablespoons of taco seasoning, then 1 teaspoon of cumin. This makes a lot of Southwest dressing. Give it a good whisk just like this until it is well combined. Now to assemble these wraps, I have large burrito-sized tortillas right here. Just place one on a plate, and now I'm sprinkling a little bit of shredded Mexican style cheese over the top. Place some of your crispy chicken over the cheese. Next, I'm drizzling a little bit of Southwest dressing on the top. You could use however much or however little Southwest dressing you would like. Now add some black beans on, followed by lettuce, corn, and then I'm adding some diced tomatoes, and then roll this up and you could serve your wraps up. These wraps are so easy to throw together. You could add basically any ingredients you have on hand into these wraps. They are so delicious, and during the warmer months of the year, I absolutely love making wraps for my family just because they're so simple and so good. Now we're making these ham salad sandwiches. So to get them started on my cutting board, I'm dicing 1 yellow onion. I'm also slicing 2 ribs of celery. Over to this medium-sized bowl, I'm adding the onion and celery right into the bowl. Next, go ahead and add in 1 pound of diced ham. This is just pre-diced ham. Next, add in 3/4 cup of mayonnaise, followed by 2 tablespoons of relish. This is dill relish, but you could also use sweet relish if you prefer more of like a sweet flavor. Then I added in a tablespoon of yellow mustard, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Give this a really good stir, then you could serve this up. Also, I want to help you out a little bit this summer, so last week I created this ebook with 25 of my favorite no-bake/no-cook recipes. I also made it completely free for you all. I have the link to access it below this video. I just really can't wait for you to see it. We served ours in a hamburger bun with a slice of lettuce and tomato, and then we added a scoop of that ham salad. This is so good. That ham salad filling is like so rich and delicious tasting. It really is good. If you've never made ham salad before, I definitely recommend it, and I made it on a day that was like about 95 degrees outside, so this was the perfect no-cook dinner to make on that hot day. I know some of you guys are even having even warmer weather where you are at. We served this with Funyuns on the side. We haven't had Funyuns